Have you ever noticed how toddlers and narcissists seem to have a few things in common? Well, today at queenbeing.com, we're going to talk about exactly what those things are, why they happen, and how we can deal with them. So, let's get started. Closed captioning provided by Athena Moberg and CPTSDFoundation.org. My name's Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So, if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and we'll get going. When my kids were toddlers, they did this thing where one minute they would be perfectly happy and the next minute they would have a complete meltdown. Somebody could look at them the wrong way and suddenly the whole world would be ending. Well, my little toddlers, they had something in common with narcissists. So this morning during chat, one of my longtime viewers said something very interesting. He said something about narcissists being like toddlers, being very immature, and he's totally on point. Narcissists tend to have a very low EQ or emotional quotient. They tend to have toddler-like reactions to things. Some narcissists are as mature emotionally as 12 or 13-year-olds, to be fair. So for toddlers, the mood swings, the ups and the downs, ages 18 months to 2 or 3 years, they kind of go through this thing where they're the center of the world and everything revolves around them. Well, that's perfectly normal for toddlers, and they usually grow out of it unless they grow up to become a narcissist, in which case it seems like they kind of get stalled emotionally in that area. So how is it that toddlers are so moody? Why are they so moody? And what does this have to do with narcissists? Well, just like narcissists, toddlers are moody a lot of times because they simply cannot properly express themselves. So with a toddler, sometimes they just don't have the words or the ability to understand the words that they need to say in order to express themselves, and they get frustrated. Whereas a narcissist might have plenty of words, but may not fully be able to recognize that emotion and identify it in such a way that is healthy. Kids between ages 1 and 3, they're kind of just discovering the whole world. Narcissists have been around the world a few times, but they don't always have the ability to fully express their emotions for different reasons than toddlers. It's not about the language for them so much as it's about the ability to even understand or identify emotions in a healthy way. To be fair, most toddlers are under 3 feet tall and their vocabularies are within about 20 words. So let's give the toddlers a break here. So here's an example of how these two things are kind of similar. Let's say we have a toddler who really loves cereal, but this toddler prefers Fruit Loops to Cheerios, and he doesn't know how to say that to his mother, so every time she serves him Cheerios, he gets real upset, screams and yells and throws things and acts crazy. She has no idea why, because he said he wanted cereal, but he can't identify, because he doesn't have the word for Fruit Loops. He can't identify the Fruit Loops. So in a similar situation, a narcissist may come home from work one day and just emotionally vomit all over you and scream at you and yell at you and start a big fight for no apparent reason, and you have no idea why. Well, that might be because he had a bad day at work and doesn't really know how to properly express those emotions. So, not being able to properly express emotions, one similarity between narcissists and toddlers. The next thing that toddlers and narcissists have in common is they cannot handle waiting. Not only that, they have no sense of time. They don't know or appreciate what delayed gratification is all about. And this is true on all counts for both narcissists and toddlers. So, for a toddler, you might say, hey, we're about to go outside, get your shoes on, and then you might get a phone call. Well, the toddler becomes enraged because they know you're supposed to be going outside to play, they got their shoes on, they're ready to go, what are you doing on the phone? And they just lose it. That's because toddlers have no concept of time, but on the same token, you might be getting ready to go out on a date with a narcissist, and you're putting on your makeup, doing your hair, and you say, oh, one more second, I just got to run in and grab my earrings, and the narcissist might have a complete meltdown. And in this case, it's not so much about not having a sense of time as it is about not having any empathy for you. Of course, with a toddler, you can just distract him and keep him busy during that time. Whereas with a narcissist, you can't really teach him how to have empathy for you. But if you are dealing with a narcissist, you can distract him with something else, like a compliment or a question about something they have expertise in. Keep him talking, that'll keep him busy for a minute. The third way narcissists and toddlers toddlers are alike is that neither one can stand it when they don't get what they want. They have major problems controlling their emotions around not getting what they want. So for example, if you have a toddler who is at the swimming pool with his parents and you say to the toddler, "Hey kid, it's time for us to get ready to go. Let's get the towel and dry off." He may have a blood-curdling, flat-out meltdown, kicking and screaming on the concrete. And you may be completely floored by this because you've been at the pool for the last 3 hours and you're exhausted. Y'all got sunburns. It's time to go home, right? On the same token, if you're out on that date we talked about earlier with the narcissist, they may decide at some point that they want to go climb a mountain in the middle of the night. And you might say, "You know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go home because I'm tired and we've been out since this afternoon and it's 4 a.m. or whatever." And the narcissist, instead of understanding logically that, "Oh, well, that makes sense. Maybe she is tired or he is tired," the narcissist might just act exactly like the toddler acted at the pool, only not so blatantly. I guess they could act it out that way, but in most cases, they'll throw a different kind of temper tantrum. For example, they might give you the silent treatment for a week, or they might get angry at you and storm off into the night, leaving you to find your own way home. Lots of different things that could happen. But the reason, again, in both cases, is that they don't have the emotional skills required to settle down enough to logic their way out of the trouble, out of the mood, out of the rage. So with a narcissist, just like with a toddler, there are certain things you can do. In both cases, it involves acknowledging their feelings and naming the feelings. I understand that you aren't ready to go home right now, but this is how it has to be, or whatever. You have to kind of calmly tell them when they're toddlers. When you're dealing with a narcissist, you might want to try a different approach, like, "Well, I understand that you want to stay out because you're so much younger and wilder and crazier than me," or whatever words that you think they want to hear, "but I gotta go home, I'm tired. I'll just take an Uber, I'll see you later." Neither approach resolves the problem with the toddler or the narcissist, but in both cases, that's the best thing you can do. And in both cases, you want to avoid extreme emotion. You don't want to get angry, upset, or throw yourself on the floor next to them and scream with them. In both cases, it'll take time before they're able to connect to their emotions. And in the case of the toddler, they might actually get there at some point. When we're talking about the narcissist, that might be a whole other ball of wax. But at least they'll settle down if you don't give them an emotional reaction. Ray Rocket. Another way that toddlers and narcissists are similar is that in both cases, each of them wants what they want, when they want it, how they want it. They want to call all the shots and they want to do exactly what they want to do, whatever they please. And when they try to get that, whatever it is that they want, or try to do whatever it is that they want, whatever makes them excited or happy or interested, and they are told no, well, watch out. In both the cases of the toddler and the narcissist, you're going to see some drama. Now here's one technique that you can use on both toddlers and narcissists, and that is to give them a choice. For example, if you have a toddler who is potty training and screams every time you say, "Okay, let's go to the potty," maybe you could buy 2 or 3 different potty chairs of different colors and put them in different parts of the house, and then say to the toddler, instead of, "Okay, it's time to go to the potty," you could say, "Which potty do you want to use today, Mr. Toddler?" And when we're talking about a narcissist, maybe you don't want to put potties all over the house, but maybe you want to do something a little different. Like if you are co-parenting with an ex-narcissist and you need to rearrange pickup times, maybe instead of telling them, "Hey, we're going to rearrange the pickup times, this is how it's going to be," maybe you could say to them, "Would it be better for you if I dropped Billy off at 3 o'clock instead of you having to drive all the way to me and picking Billy up? Or would you rather meet me halfway? Or would it be better if we did this?" And that's not necessarily the best example, but the idea is that you give them a choice, whatever it is. If you know that when you pick the restaurant, the narcissist gets mad, say, "Okay, narcissist, so I was thinking we could go out to dinner and we could have restaurant 1, 2, or 3. Whatever the choices are. Split it up, break it up, give them a choice, and that will change everything. In both the cases of the toddler and the narcissist in this particular situation, giving them a choice and making it all about them will make it much easier. Of course, just like a toddler, a narcissist will every now and then, no matter how careful you are and how hard you try to make it easy, they'll make it hard anyway. They'll have a moment of drama or throw themselves on the floor for no apparent reason. So how do you deal with these little outbursts? Well, from toddlers, we would call them fits or temper tantrums, and for adults, we might call it narcissistic rage. What is the best way to handle it? Well, here's something important to remember. For both toddlers and narcissists, each group of people are actively learning how to get what they want from other people. And in both cases, if you give them what they want when they act like a big baby, then they're going to continue to act like a big baby to get what they want. Which is why when we're talking about adults, narcissists, I recommend the gray rock method because it allows you to take the emotion out of it. That's less stressful for you eventually when you get used to it. And it teaches narcissists that they won't make you cry, they won't make you have an explosive reaction if they continue the raging. If you do not respond to the raging, they will stop doing it because it will teach them that you don't respond to rage. So they'll try something else. And the same thing applies to toddlers when it comes to throwing a temper tantrum. So just like with toddlers, the best way to deal with a narcissist in that case is to, number one, do not rationalize their behavior and do not excuse it. Don't argue with them because there's no point when a toddler is throwing a temper tantrum or a narcissist is having a narcissistic rage. Trying to reason with them is like talking to a brick wall. For a toddler, you might want to put them in a safe place where they can't hurt themselves. Put them in a playpen, put them in their crib, whatever. If we're talking about a narcissist, well, then you might want to put yourself in a safe place so they can't hurt you. Walk away if you can. And then in the case of both the toddler and the narcissist, once they calm down and get their wits about them again, well, then you can carry on if you absolutely need to. In both cases, it'll take some trial and error. In both cases, it'll take a whole lot of patience from you. In both cases, it will help reduce the amount of temper tantrums and or rages. This brings me to the question of the day. And the question of the day is, do you think narcissists and toddlers have anything else in common? And if so, what would you add to my list today? If not, well, tell me that too. I'd love to hear what you think. All right, that's all I've got for you right now. But as always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. Now, before I go, make sure you take a look at the videos I'm leaving for you right here and right here. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button right there so that we can stay connected and continue on this healing journey together. I'll see you soon.